Police in Norway are investigating claims by the man responsible for last week's twin terror attacks that he was not working alone, but they doubt he is telling the truth.
At least 100,000 people took to the streets of Norway's capital in a mass rally against violence, as authorities revised the death toll down from 93 to 76. It was a show of unity as at least 100,000 people, young and old, took to the streets of Norway's capital, Oslo, and tens of thousands more gathered in other cities across the country. They wanted to voice their anger at the mass killings of last weekend, when a right-wing Christian fanatic bombed government buildings in Oslo and gunned down scores of people at a youth camp. In a country of 4.8 million, where a single murder makes front-page news, this was probably the biggest display of unity since the Second World War.
It's important for all people in Norway to show that we care about the situation.
Just last night, the gunman, Anders Breivik, appeared in court behind closed doors to explain what drove him to mass murder. The judge quoted him as saying, "The operation was not to kill as many people as possible, but to give a strong signal that cannot be misunderstood, that as long as the ruling Labour Party keeps driving its ideological line and keeps on deconstructing Norwegian culture and mass importing Muslims, then they must assume responsibility for this treason. Any person with a conscience cannot allow its country to be colonized by Muslims." The grim irony for Norway's Muslims is that the perpetrator of the twin terror attacks, who the Western media were so quick to blame on Islamic extremists, turned out to be a man who hates Muslims.
It's really horrifying that he actually killed so many young people because he hates us.
Breivik's father, who hasn't been in touch with him since 1995, has been questioned by police. Refusing to be identified, he told reporters he thought it was a mistake at first when he learned on the internet that the gunman was his son. Breivik's father thinks his son should have taken his own life instead of others. In an unexpected move last night, Breivik said in court that he was recruited by two British right-wing activists to carry out the attacks. That's after he told police earlier he acted alone. But Reuters news agency quoted sources close to the investigation as saying today that Breivik's talk of other cells involved in the attacks was doubtful because he has fairly low credibility, although no one dares to be completely dismissive about his claims.
We take those claims extremely seriously. We will look at all the aspects of those claims and we'll work very, very closely with the Norwegians.
While police fight accusations, they didn't arrive soon enough to help teenagers gunned down on an island at a youth camp. Officials are now facing even more criticism for lowering the death toll.
Police and other rescue personnel had a very demanding task on the island just after they arrived, and it was necessary to give priority to those who were injured and to secure the whole area. In this complex situation, the number of deaths first reported were too high. The dead people were lying partly in heaps. It might have been that some victims were counted twice.
Breivik has been locked up alone with no incoming letters, visitors, or access to the media, except for his lawyer. He will be detained for 8 weeks until his next appearance in court.